Madam C.J. Walker was a civil rights activist who was born in 1867 and she died in 1919. Madam C.J. Walker created hair care products for African Americans, and she was the first self-made female millionaire in the United States. Madam C.J. Walker was born Sarah Breedlove on December 23, 1867, near Delta, Louisiana. After suffering from a scalp ailment that resulted in her own hair loss, she invented a line of African American hair care products in 1905. She promoted her products by traveling the country, giving lecture demonstrations, and eventually established Madam C.J. Walker Laboratories to manufacture cosmetics and train sales beauticians. Her savvy business led her to become the first female self-made millionaire in the United States who donated the largest amount of money by an African American toward the construction of an Indianapolis YMCA. She was rivaled only by countless philanthropic endeavors for which she is also known. Madam C.J. Walker was born Sarah Breedlove on December 23, 1867, on a cotton plantation near Delta, Louisiana. Her parents, Owen and Minerva, were recently freed slaves, and Sarah, who was their fifth child, was her first in a family to be freeborn. Minerva Breedlove died in 1874, and Owen passed away the following year, both due to unknown causes, and Sarah became an orphan at the age of 7. After her parents' passing, Sarah was sent to live with her sister, Lavinia, and her brother-in-law. The three moved to Vicksburg, Mississippi in 1877, where Sarah picked cotton and was likely employed doing household work, although no documentation exists verifying her employment at the time. At age 14, to escape both her oppressive working environment and the frequent mistreatment she endured at the hands of her brother-in-law, Sarah married a man named Moses McWilliams. On June 6, 1885, Sarah gave birth to Alila. When Moses died 2 years later, Sarah and Alila moved to St. Louis, where Sarah's brothers had established themselves as barbers. There, Sarah worked as a washerwoman, earning $1.50 a day. That was enough to send her daughter to the city's public schools. She also attended public night school whenever she could. While in St. Louis, Breedlove met her second husband, Charles J. Walker, who worked in advertising and would later help promote her hair care business. During the 1890s, Sarah Breedlove developed a scalp disorder that caused her to lose much of her hair, and she began to experiment with both home remedies and store-bought hair care treatments in an attempt to improve her condition. In 1905, Breedlove was hired as a commission agent by Annie Turnbow Malone, a successful black hair care product entrepreneur, and she moved to Denver, Colorado. While there, Breedlove's husband, Charles, helped her create advertisements for a hair care treatment for African Americans that she was perfecting. Her husband also encouraged her to use the more recognizable name, Madam C.J. Walker, by which she was thereafter known. In 1907, Walker and her husband traveled around the South and Southeast promoting her products and giving lecture demonstrations of her Walker method, involving her own formula for pomade, brushing, and the use of heated combs. As profits continued to grow, in 1908, Walker opened a factory and a beauty school in Pittsburgh, and by 1910, when Walker transferred her business operations to Indianapolis, the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company had become widely successful, with profits that were the modern-day equivalent of several $million. Wow. In Indianapolis, the company not only manufactured cosmetics, but trained sales beauticians. These Walker agents became well known throughout the black communities of the United States. In turn, they promoted Walker's philosophy of cleanliness and loveliness as a means of advancing the status of African Americans. An innovator, Walker organized clubs, conventions for her representatives, which recognized not only successful sales, but also philanthropic and educational efforts among African Americans. In 1913, Walker and Charles divorced, and she traveled throughout Latin America and the Caribbean promoting her business and recruiting others to teach her hair care methods. While her mother traveled, Alila Walker helped facilitate the purchase of property in Harlem, New York, recognizing that the area would be an important base for future business operations. In 1960, upon returning from her travels, Walker moved to her new townhouse in Harlem. From there, she would continue to operate her business while leaving the day-to-day operations of her factory in Indianapolis to its forelady. Walker quickly immersed herself in Harlem's social and political culture. She founded philanthropies that included educational scholarships and donations to homes for the elderly, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and the National Conference on Lynching, among other organizations focused on improving the lives of African Americans. She also donated a large amount of money by an African American toward the construction of the Indianapolis YMCA in 1913. Madam C.J. Walker died of hypertension on May 25, 1919, at the age of 51. At the estate home she had built for herself in Irvington on the Hudson, New York, is where her death occurred. At the time of her death, Walker was sole owner of her business, which was valued at more than $1 million. Her personal fortune was estimated between $600,000 and $700,000. Today, Walker is widely credited as the first African American woman to be a self-made millionaire. She was actually the first American woman to become a self-made millionaire. Walker left 1/3 of her estate to her daughter, Alila Walker, who also became well known as a part of cultural home renaissance, and the remaining various charities. Walker's funeral took place at her home, which was designated as a National Historic Landmark, and she was buried at Woodlawn Cemetery in the Bronx, New York. In 1927, the Walker building, an honor that Walker had begun work on for her death, was opened in Indianapolis, an important African American culture center for decades. It is now a registered historic landmark. In 1998, the United States Postal Service issued a stamp, Madam C. Walker, part of its Black Heritage series. My information came from biography.com, CJ Walker.net, CJWalker.com, and Wikipedia.org.